From the Sunshine State, this is Tampa Bay's Tan Talk.
It's time for FLALAW, brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Paranick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes. This hour will be informative, along with taking your questions and comments. Now, here are your hosts for today's show.
Good evening. It is Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and that means you are listening to FLALAW on the radio. My name is Matthew Noyes. I'm one of the attorneys at the law firm of Paranick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes, and we are happy to have you listening. If you are just a new listener, you may know that you may find out that we are a live call-in talk show. Usually, we invite attorneys onto FLALAW on the radio to share insight on their areas of law, while still discussing our areas of law of personal injury, workers' compensation, Social Security, disability. But we also believe in highlighting wonderful organizations that also serve our community. And so today is one of those days. We're taking a step away from the law and really focusing on communities. Just as our law firm strives to assist those impacted by car accidents, work injuries, and Social Security cases, Dunedin Cares works tirelessly to combat food insecurity and support individuals in so many other ways while they're in need. I'm thrilled to have their executive director, Kristina Garcia, here with us today to discuss the vital work that she and her team does. So, Kristina, thank you very much for joining us and allowing us to showcase the incredible impact you and Dunedin Cares has on today. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
I know we're going to talk a lot for the next hour about Dunedin Cares, but before we do that, why don't you tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. So I grew up in Tampa. I've lived in Pinellas for over 22 years. I've served in nonprofits as a volunteer for over 30 years.
Wow.
And in 2017, I joined Dunedin Cares as a volunteer. And then in 2018, I joined their board of directors, and I took this role in 2023 as the executive director and CEO.
Wow, that's very good. Can you tell our listeners, just in your own words, what Dunedin Cares does? I know we could spend a whole hour on that, but what they do and what makes it more than just a place to pick up food for people that have food insecurities?
So our focus, our mission is definitely food insecurity and helping those in need. And we help clients that are in Dunedin, Palm Harbor, and Clearwater. So our service area is pretty large. But the way that we do that, which is very unique, is that we're set up kind of like a small grocery store. So our clients come in and shop inside. So they come, they get a number, their number gets called, and they get to come in and shop. They shop with one of our volunteer shoppers, and they push the cart, and our volunteer gets the items for them off the shelf. So this helps them not only keep their dignity and kind of autonomy in shopping, right? But it also allows them to help with their dietary needs and maybe their cultural differences as well.
I think that's a great idea. I've seen it in the process, and so that as you said, it helps to preserve just because they're going through some food insecurity. Everybody has that situation from time to time, and so allowing them to really pick out their food and enjoying, I put in quotes, the shopping experience. I think really makes Dunedin Cares stand above the rest. So I think that's really good that what you do.
I think it's important, for all of us to kind of remember that any of us could be there at any point in time. So we have a lot of grandparents who come to us that are raising their grandkids and, they're on a fixed income. They didn't think they would be in that situation. Unfortunately, a lot of veterans who, once they pay for their medications, they can't afford their groceries. A lot of people who just relocated here, and once they pay their first and last month's rent, they don't have any money left for food.
Yes.
So it's definitely a hardship that people endure.
I agree. And I jumped right in, but I do not got to let our listeners know that this is a live call-in talk show. Mm-hmm. So if they do have questions or if they have comments or if they felt the benefit of Dunedin Cares, we welcome those. There's really 3 ways to get in touch with us for the next 45 minutes, 46 minutes. And the easiest way is to give us a call at 727-441-3000. We'll be happy to address your questions, your comments, or your concerns on the telephone. But there's another way to do that too, and that's through our live Facebook page. Right now we are live on the firm's website, Facebook page at Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyce Injury Lawyers. Pernick is spelled P-E-R-E-N-I-C-H. And you can see us live here in the studios. I'm waving right now to you. So you can type in your questions or your comments right on there, and I'm looking at the screen, and I can address those right here on Facebook as well. And there's yet a third way to do it, and that's through our YouTube channel. And our YouTube channel is the same thing. Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyce Injury Lawyers. Again, Pernick, P-E-R-E-N-I-C-H. And you can type in your questions there right on our YouTube channel, and Ed on the other side of the glass will throw something at me and let me know that you've had a comment, and we'll be able to address those as well. And so not just for me, but also for Kristina Garcia, the Executive Director of Dunedin Cares. She's volunteered her time. I know she's had a very busy day today, as every day. But so coming here for an hour to really spotlight Dunedin Cares, we appreciate it, and we welcome you all to ask her any questions that she may have. But Kristina, before we take any calls, I am interested to learn what led you to Dunedin Cares. I know you've been in nonprofiting for years before that. What led you to Dunedin Cares?
Actually, it was our former president. So Joe Mackin was one of the presidents of our board, and he was one of our founders. And he and I were part of the Dunedin Chamber together, and he just asked me to come volunteer, so I did, and that's really how I got started with Dunedin Cares.
That's wonderful.
And it just sort of happened that way.
That's wonderful. I meant to show you photos of of pictures from way back. I have a picture of me and Joe, but I also have a picture of me and Ed. Oh, and Ed Hughes, right?
Yes.
I think it was Ed and Joe who really started up Dunedin Cares.
Yeah, and Heath.
And
Heath Watson.
Oh, okay. I don't think I ever met him. Yeah. So, yeah. And it started out just in a church, right?
Yeah, so we started out in the closet.
In the closet.
Literally, of Faith United. Faith Lutheran. Faith Lutheran has been extremely wonderful to us. So we had a closet with a couple of shelves when we first started, and that's how we started in the beginning. We were kind of worked in conjunction with the city as well. So they developed a social services committee, and that worked with us under Dave Edgars, who used to be our mayor. And that's sort of how the whole thing got started. There were just some people who were in need of food, and Dunedin doesn't really have social services. We're kind of it. Okay. So a lot of people don't know that, but that's the way it works. So that's how they got started, and then it just sort of went from there. There was a parishioner of Faith Lutheran Church who had a school, and the schoolhouse was a double-wide trailer. She bequeathed it to us, and that got flatbedded over, and that's what we use today. That's been since 2017, so it's been very well loved. It needs to be replaced, so we're working on that. But that 2,400 square foot trailer is our home today.
And it's amazing what you're able to do with that trailer. I remember when it first got there, and it was like, oh my goodness, how are you going to be able to do what they do? And then you do even more. You store your food in there. Now you have freezers there. I think before they didn't even have freezers.
We did not. There. No, we did not. And we had very little. We had a couple of refrigerators when it first started. They laid a cement slab and then put it down. And now we have a generator in the back, thanks to Dunedin Refrigeration. We have a cooler that's next to it, a walk-in, which we got from a grant. We have a couple of pods that are next to it, which we purchased. It all just sort of evolved. I mean, our total footprint that we take up, including our outside seating, is about 9,000 square feet.
Wow, so, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. And for that, although it is a small space, you do so much. I mean, you have the grocery store, is what I call it, where the people can come in and do their shopping, and then also have the whole storage right there, and you also have the do the collections, so you have that door with the collection. So that one little space can do so much, and the need is so great. Do you have an idea, or can you tell our listeners about the extent of the need, not just in Dunedin, because as you said, you do Dunedin and Clearwater and other areas around there. What's the need?
I can tell you that each year it has increased exponentially. So in 2025, we gave out over 621,000 pounds of food.
Wow.
And we feed about 30,000 individuals per year.
Wow.
Now, we do have some outreach services. So we do have a pop-up pantry twice a month in the Greenwood area. We do have neighborly shopping. So our seniors come in and shop twice a month. And then we do bags for the seniors that cannot get out in Dunedin and Palm Harbor. We also do pack bags for human trafficking victims for Catholic Charities. Wow. We pack some bags for some gentlemen that live in a sober home. And then we also assist with the Falcon's Nest Closet, which is across the street at the high school. We assist with the VFW Blessing Box. So we do about 30,000 pounds of food every year in outreach as well.
Wow. And that's all those things that you just talked about is up and above the food distribution that you do on a weekly basis.
Yes, that's correct.
Tell our listeners when families do come in and do the food distribution or the food shopping. Is there certain days that they come?
Yes, so it's Monday evenings from 5:30 to 7:30, and then Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 9:30 to noon. They can come and shop as long as they live in Dunedin, Palm Harbor, or Clearwater. They have to bring their ID and some shopping bags. If they live outside of those areas, they can have a one-time rapid shop with us, which we will get the items and bring them out to them. And then we provide them with a QR code of other food pantries that are in our county.
That's great. And do people have to register with Dunedin Cares before they come to you?
They just show up with their ID and bags. We don't take reservations or anything like that.
And about how many families do you serve on a daily basis?
Most, I would say most days it's anywhere from 45 to 55 or 65 families. Monday evenings and Saturdays are usually our busiest.
Wow, that's wonderful. And tell me about the volunteers. How many volunteers do you have?
Our volunteers are amazing. So, I know you asked me in the questions to pick one. I can't do that because we've had some of the same volunteers for almost a decade. Wow. We've been in business for 11 years, and I can tell you that they come in early, they stay late, they have literally bandaged, duct taped, and put the pantry back together, and are single-handedly responsible for why it is still running today, really. But they are all amazing. They all have their own talents and treasures that they bring to the table. Everybody has their own little niche that they bring in that they're responsible for, and they're super on top of it and very aware of what's happening. And they're all amazing. They actually restore my faith in humanity, to be honest.
That's great. That's great. I think people need to go there.
Yeah, you're an attorney, so you probably could come in every once in a while.
That's right. And I'll tell you, when we do the donations, whether it's me individually or through the office, or through, I have a Noyes Family Foundation, for the Family Foundation, it is refreshing that every time we go there, they are just so sweet and so nice and so thankful.
Yeah.
They could have everything going on all around them, and they take time to really show appreciation for the little donation that we provide. And so it makes us say, hey, this is why we want to do what we do, because you do what you do. So that's a wonderful thing.
That's true.
Tell me about your role. I know you started out as a volunteer at Dunedin Cares, and then you were on the board, and now you're the executive director. Tell me how things have changed, and what any early challenges that there may have been at Dunedin Cares before you became executive director.
Well, there's been both. I would say as far as changes that have happened, we've changed our logo, we've changed our website. I started a volunteer T-shirt program, so now we have logos on the back of our shirts, which help offset the costs of those shirts, because we have our volunteers wear specific shirts with our logos, and they change every year. So we try to be engaging there. We're definitely a little bit more I think, community focused as far as the businesses that we get involved. We have more businesses engaged in what we do. And, my background and specialty was really sales and marketing. So that's kind of what I did. I worked for the Beacon, and so I was kind of already involved in the community. So it was easy to bring.
You worked for the Beacon.
Yeah. So it was easy to bring that engagement kind of forward into this position. And some of the same customers I have are kind of still my customers, just in a different way. They're our donors. Right. So, or they're our supporters. Places like, Lucky Lobster and Madison Avenue Pizza, who supply us with our toilet paper and paper towels. One of our things that our board of directors feel very strongly about is that we focus on our finances and our money being spent on food, because that's our mission. So we don't purchase paper products. We have those items donated.
Oh, wow.
And our pet supplies come from, Paws and Claws Animal Medical Center and Dunedin Pet Supply and My Natural Pets. So when we run low, we call them and they bring us pet food.
Wow.
So, and a lot of those relationships have just been built over the years. So it's really been wonderful to see that involvement and those people we've almost built like our own ecosystem of engagement of people
it's really
being involved.
Cool, the different companies that get involved in different ways.
It really is.
When we had Maddie Williams here, I know you know them quite well. But when we had them, they said one of the biggest problems is the paper products. That the need for paper products is so great, and
it is.
People think it's a food pantry, and they only think food when there's so much more of a need. And then you talked about pets as well. People forget that as well. So it's great to hear that you have organizations, especially Madison Street Pizza,
Madison Avenue,
Madison
Pizza,
Avenue, whose owner taught my son over at St. Cecilia's.
And
so,
Jackie,
and her boys are growing just tremendously. But it's so great to see the organization, and it really, as you said, it gives faith to humanity, but it also gives, it just rebuilds our faith in community.
Absolutely.
Because it's not just the people, it's the businesses that are stepping in as well. And I just see that's just a wonderful, wonderful thing for a community to do. When someone's in need, that's the community needs to step in and try to take help to hold of them and guide them through it. And you guys do so much more than just the core program of food insecurity. You brushed on a few of those, but I want to dive into it a little bit more. Can you walk through some of, the other programs that you do besides the food distributions you were talking about? The seniors, I didn't even appreciate that you did that with the seniors, the Neighborly,
So they come over and get to shop. And they have their own special shopping times. It's the first and third Wednesdays of the month from 11:30 to 1. They come over on the bus. A few of them have their own cars and they drive over, but it's really nice. And during COVID, it was necessary for them to have their own shopping time, right? Because they needed to be in the pantry by themselves. But they love it because they get to come over and shop at a very specific time, and it's their time to be in the pantry. They don't have to rush. They get to look at everything. They get to take their time and shop. And then whatever of the guests are not able to come and get out of their homes, we pack the bags, and then Meals on Wheels takes it to those seniors.
That's great.
So it's a great outreach service, and it works really well for our senior population. At some point, hopefully, when we have a larger location or a different location, we'll be able to do more. We did just recently partner as well with Maddie Williams. So our guests who maybe need a little bit more than food, we can also, they're our partners, so they will work with our guests who need maybe some budgeting assistance or rental assistance or, lights or things like that. They can help us with those items. So it's wonderful to have that opportunity.
And that's why I love both of yours, all organization, because it's not, hey, Dunedin Cares is doing this, so just give to Dunedin Cares and forget about the other people. And Maddie Williams, they just focus on Maddie Williams. You both work each hand in hand with each other to build each other up.
Yeah.
And I think that's why both organizations are so great. So it's wonderful to see that.
Yeah, David and I only fight over you. We don't fight over you.
David's a character. He was funny. He sat right there. So
I know.
It's really good. Yeah. But you also have another program, PBJ and More.
We do.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's usually April 1st to May 1st. It was created by Joe and Ed. Ed used to like the little stacks of the peanut butter and jelly at the library. That was his thing. But we really created that around, the idea was that we're kind of gearing up for summer, right? All the kids are going to be out of school. And many children, their only food security is when they're in school.
Right.
Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but it's true.
Many people, don't have school children don't appreciate that.
Right. So 1 in 4 children in Pinellas County are food insecure, and 1 in 6 adults are food insecure.
Wow.
So, and our numbers, trust me, that's staggering, but it's not as high as some other areas.
Really?
But it's still too high, in my opinion. Yes. So that helps us get geared up and get ready for the summer. And we turned it in, and it evolved into PBJ and More over time. Because we don't just need peanut butter and jelly. Honestly, what was happening is we were getting a lot of peanut butter, no jelly, because jelly's more expensive. And then we had no jelly to go with the peanut butter, so we would run out of jelly before we would run out of peanut butter. But we also need other items too. A huge need that we have is personal care items. So toothbrushes, toothpaste, mouthwash, things like that are always a huge need. Feminine hygiene products. So we collect all of that during that same drive, and then that way we're kind of prepared for the summer. And it just sort of sets us up for success. And then, of course, October, end of October through around the middle of December before Christmas, we have our holiday food drive, and that's always a real big one. And it's funny because the most competition we have, holiday food drive is always the schools and the churches. And then PBJ and More, it's the churches and it's our civic. It's our civic areas, like our HOAs and stuff. They get very, very competitive about it. So it's really
good.
funny.
We
There
like
is a
competition
trophy
when it comes to that.
Yeah,
There's
there
a
is
trophy too.
There is a trophy
very
with a
cool.
peanut. It's very and we'll never be able to stray away from the peanut trophy because people would get very upset.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
that's wonderful. And what I think some people forget is that during the holidays, everybody's donating. Everybody has a spirit of donating during the holidays, but the springtime, the summertime, when the kids aren't at school and getting fed, those times are so important too.
Yes.
To donate and to help out the food pantries in the neighborhood. That's why I wanted you to come in May, right when the school's coming near to an end, because I think it's so important that
it is true. Because everyone, I will tell you, during the holidays we have so much food, we have to put some of it in our pods outside. But it's at Christmas time and Thanksgiving and everything, but during the summer we are buying food because it's we buy food all the time anyway, but we're buying food, a lot more food, because people forget about us in July and August. And we have a lot of snowbirds too, so churches don't have as many people in attendance, and people are gone. It's hot here,
right?
But we need food year round, and one of the best things I think that people can do for us is just do that monthly donation so that we know, we're going to be consistent. It helps us to be able to budget.
Right.
It's easy. It's online. You don't even have to think about it. And the amount doesn't even matter. It just helps us to be able to budget. Right. And remember, we can always buy food cheaper than you can.
Yes, that's true.
It's helpful.
I always encourage people. And our firm, I guess I have to say, I haven't said it in a little while. Parent Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes, the proud sponsors of FLALAW on the radio. We did do a pantry project, and we just put a box out in our lobby. And from the clients that came in, the people from the bank downstairs, and our staff, we were able to collect food. And we're able to donate some to Dunedin Cares as well. Mm-hmm. And it was just, the thing that I just kept saying is, when you go to Publix and you see a BOGO, buy one for you and give one away.
Exactly.
And that really was very helpful, because I saw a lot of spaghetti when spaghetti was on BOGO, or sauce, and and soup and such like that. But really, I mean, that's the mindset I think we need to try to instill in people is, BOGO is an opportunity. I guess one of the O's could stand for opportunity to give to somebody in need. So, and not just during the holiday time, but all throughout the whole year.
Yeah, all year. We have these two ladies that live right down the street from Dunedin Cares, and for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, We call them the BOGO sisters.
Oh, yeah.
They come every Saturday, and it's their mission. They are too cute. They buy everything BOGO and they bring it in, and that's what they do every single Saturday.
Wow.
It's their thing. They do it together. They go to breakfast, and then they go to Publix, and they buy the BOGO items, and they bring them and donate them.
Wow, that's wonderful. I know PBJ and More we talked about. You also have a cereal. I know there's a little girl.
We had so Ileana was.
She's not a little girl
she's
anymore.
She's not.
But
And unfortunately,
tell
this
that
last year,
story.
was in middle school, and she didn't do it this last year, but she still donated to us herself. But she didn't do the drive this year. She had actually an injury, so she wasn't able to do it this year. But I know she was heartbroken. But she did collect some on her own, and she brought that in. But every year she has done her own cereal drive, and she does an incredible job. I mean, she collects no less than like 1,000 boxes of cereal. It's incredible. Her mom runs our Dunedin library. She's the executive director. So there's some low-hanging fruit there, of course. But it's wonderful that she does that for us. And that's not really anything that we do. We help advertise it for her. But it's something that when Ileana was 6 years old, she went to her mom and said, I want to do this for Dunedin Cares. And that's when we first opened. And she's been doing it ever since.
Wow. I remember I do a newsletter to my clients. It's called Treasures Newsletter. And when Ileana was just a young little girl, she was one of the spotlighting in the community that she was able to do. And to see that she continues to do that and to see how she has aged is just amazing. And again, another testament to, there's hope out there. There's good future leaders out there. And so I think that's a wonderful thing that she does. And I think she sparks other people to do that kind of thing. Other children say, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
And then they can do that as well.
You wouldn't believe how many other people in the neighborhood to come by and say, they'll just bring us boxes of cereal and be like, here, I saw her on your Facebook. Just put this towards her drive. So she gets boxes just added to by osmosis. So it works out well for her.
Yeah. Well, we did touch a little bit on the volunteers, and I know the volunteers are the backbone of any local nonprofit. But can you describe for our listeners, what the role is and the daily life of a volunteer at Dunedin Cares?
Sure. I would be remiss if I don't mention that we also have a pantry operations manager. So she and I are the only two employees. So she actually runs the volunteers and the day-to-day operations. Ashley, she's amazing. Without her, I would not survive. And the volunteers, so we have a program that's the leads, which are our lead volunteers. So they kind of assist we have at least one working every single shift. And they assist in any changes or anything that needs to be highlighted during that shift and kind of rolling that out to the other volunteers that might be working during that shift. But as far as the life of a volunteer, so when you come to volunteer for Dunedin Cares, your first item is that you would shadow every single role that we have. And then you kind of get to gravitate towards what might be one of your select favorite, things to do.
Sure.
I caution everybody in saying that you will be standing the entire time, and it's usually about a 3-hour shift, and you need to be prepared to be able to lift at least 30 pounds.
Okay.
It's not something for someone who just wants to come and sit.
Right.
We're not a soup kitchen. You're not going to be standing there serving food, but you are going to be lifting and you are going to be moving around.
Right.
It's definitely something that is physical. So as far as their roles are we have everything from a parking attendant. We have valets who take the food out to people's cars in wagons. We have a person who does guest registration, which is someone who's been with us for a little while, so they kind of have an idea of how to work the computer and they know the inner workings. And then we have someone who greets them when they first come in. We have the shoppers who shop with the guests. We have people who work in the back in the warehouse that check things in and do all the weighing. And then we also have people who are responsible for kind of just overseeing everything that's going on kind of in the middle. Sometimes they're a backup role. Sometimes they're somebody who's in training and they just sort of float in between. It just depends on what's happening. But when we are staffed for shopping, we have no less than 18 people.
I was going to ask you, yes. Okay.
That are staffed. Now, we're open 6 days a week. So even though we only have shopping at certain times, we are doing stocking and replenishing of the store 6 days a week.
Wow.
We're only closed on Sunday.
Wow. And the age of your volunteers range from teenagers all the way up to senior citizens, right?
Yes, they really do. We're technically, we really don't have anybody come in that's really younger than 16 or 17. But they go all the way up to, I think our oldest volunteer is 86.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, listeners, if you're just tuning in, you are listening to FLA Law on the radio. My name is Matthew Noyce. I am one of the attorneys at the law firm of Perronick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyce, the first personal injury law firm in Pinellas County. We have been helping people since 1955. So we are celebrating 71 years being in the community. And it's a community that we are proud to be part of. And we are also proud to spotlight special organizations and people in our community, just like we're doing tonight by spotlighting Dunedin Cares. And their executive director, Kristina Garcia, has dedicated an hour of her time to come and talk to you all about Dunedin Cares. This is a live show right now, so if you have questions or comments or have a story about Dunedin Cares, please feel free to give us a call at 727-441-3000 or jump on our Facebook page at Perronick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyce Injury Lawyers. We are live on Facebook right now, and so we're happy to answer any questions that you have in the comments section there as well. And we also are on YouTube, so you can find us on YouTube and at Perronick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyce Injury Lawyers, and you can type in your questions or comments or stories there as well, and we'll be happy to let the other listeners hear about your stories. But if you aren't able to listen to the whole show, or you say, gosh, I want to share that show with somebody else, and they're not able to listen, we do post all of our episodes on many podcast platforms. Usually about 2 days after the show, we are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts, and all the other podcast platforms there. So jump onto the podcast platforms. Type in FLA Law on the radio, and you'll be able to see all our episodes, including this very special episode where we're spotlighting Dunedin Cares. So let's get right back into it. I know we talked about you working with the schools and the churches and small businesses and other nonprofits in Dunedin and throughout the area. But Kristina, can you just explain, how those companies come to you, or how do you go out to those companies to where they can help out?
It's a little bit of both. Some of them have had relationships with us for years, and some of them it's through the chamber. I'm heavily involved in the Dunedin Chamber and have been. I was previously on their board, so
because you have all the time in the world.
Not at all. I have nothing else going on. I'm on the board for Dunedin Council Organizations, so that's a lot of other businesses that are in our area. And then so I'm involved heavily through that. And then also I am part of a BNI group. So a lot of the businesses through the BNI are very supportive of us. So it's kind of, I think with our organization, it's a little bit unique just because of kind of the sales background. It sort of helps me be able to kind of bring some different approaches from a typical organization that's a nonprofit, because mostly, you would just do the donor stewardship and the donor relations, which I do, but having that kind of different approach of being able to network has been pretty beneficial for us. Obviously, we do have an annual gala as well.
Yes, I've been to it. It's
yes.
very nice. Yes.
So
it's usually right at the same time as a school gala too, though. And that's what makes it hard. But
yeah, our next
gala season. I
know it is. They really kind of are all at the same time. Our next one will be February 13th of 2027, and it is going to be held this coming year at the Dunedin Community Center. We have outgrown Dunedin City Hall, so we're moving it, but. It's really a fun event, and everybody usually has a great time. It's not a big stuffy sit down dinner.
Right.
So it's kind of an all you can eat, all you can drink, and we do like high top tables and some low tops, and it's just a fun event.
It really is.
So and we're going to keep it the same way.
Yeah. You get to sit and talk to people that you sometimes you know of them, but you don't have an opportunity to talk to them. So that gala is a wonderful opportunity to just to reconnect with the with a business that you have a common goal with. I mean, you can have a plumbing company and a roofing company both working and helping Dunedin Cares, and those two then become together, and then they may develop a relationship as well.
And that's what we hope for, is that people can kind of, they also get a chance to network.
Right.
So it seems to work.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, this will be our 4th annual one. So and each year they grow and they get more and more successful. So, and that budget from that helps us sustain with food. The donations that we get from that, we use that money all year.
Right, and I think I purchased a few things on the silent auction on one of those galas as well. So they always have great stuff there too. Yeah. But how can a local business who may not be really part of Dunedin Cares just yet, the Dunedin Cares family, how can they get involved, even if they have limited time or a limited budget?
I mean, they can email me, office@dunedincares.org. They can go on to our website. There's information on there. They can, they're welcome to volunteer with us. If they want to email me, they can bring in a few people on their team and wear their T-shirts and do a team building. It doesn't necessarily have to just, be funds.
Right.
There's a lot of ways to get involved. They can become a drop-off location for us, and then they go on our website. A link to their website goes on our website, and we have a lot of unique visitors each year. So, that's exposure for them as well. We have a lot of drop-off locations. In her.
Yeah, I can hear that. I like it.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity for a business.
Exactly. And we have a lot of businesses on there, and it's been hugely successful. It's been a great program. It's worked out well for a lot of people. And we bring you a bin. We bring you a whole marketing kit that you can have at your office. And then, if it gets full and you need us to pick it up, we can. If you want to drop it off, whatever works out better. Everybody does different things, but there's different ways that you can get involved. You can do the monthly donation if you want to. We are a 501c3. It is a tax write-off.
Right.
So, there are definitely different ways that you can get involved. And if you want to donate your time, you can do that as well.
And it doesn't have to be a business just in Dunedin.
Not at all.
It's a business anywhere.
Some of our drop-off locations are in Largo. They're they're in Clearwater. They're all over the place. Palm Harbor, everywhere.
I think it's important. So any business that wants to really get involved, they can reach out to you.
Absolutely.
At
office@DunedinCares.org.
Yep. And if you just want to jump on the website, it's DunedinCares.org.
Yep.
Yes.
And then
I have to remember that because sometimes I put .com, but it's .org.
.org.
Yes.
Yep. And then we're on Facebook. It's Dunedin Cares. We're on Instagram, Dunedin Cares, @Dunedin Cares.
And you get to see you get to see all the photos of the people, not just all your hard volunteers and yourself working, but the businesses that come in and donate and help out. And I thought I saw one office brought, or I think it was a whole family that came in to help out. It's just a wonderful.
There was a 5-year-old, and she brought in her $10 from her birthday, and with her parents. They came in.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just really cool to do.
It was very cool.
Yeah, it's wonderful to hear those kind of stories because. If you just look at the normal news, you're not going to hear those stories. And so that's why it's so good to be involved, because then you're not just absorbed in all that negativity. You get to see the positivity, not just in what you're doing, but also in what other people are doing. And so that's why I think being part of an organization like that is so important to do.
It's nice to know that there's some good in the world.
Yes. Now, what are some of the pressing needs that Dunedin and the surrounding areas today are having that we might not know about?
I would say that I think there's a lot of people who mistakenly think that everyone who comes to us is homeless and doesn't work, and that's just not the case. So I would say less than 3% of the people who come to Dunedin Cares are unemployed, and even less than that are homeless.
Right.
So,
and I think that's an important point because I agree with you. I think people think that, you need to be homeless in order to ask for help, but that's not the case at all.
No, and in fact, we're going into summer now, so we'll have some teachers that don't get paid 12 months out of the year that will be on our doorstep asking for food.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that teachers should have to be put in that position. They teach our children, so.
Right.
to me, that's just not okay.
Right. And
So-
the general public may not even appreciate that's what happens with the teachers during the summer.
Yeah.
You know, or even throughout the school year. Teachers don't get paid a lot.
That's right.
And if they have a family, they may still have food insecurities
right.
that organizations like Dunedin Cares are able to help. So I think that's important. That's one of the misconceptions that I have seen is that people think, oh, my goodness, you're either homeless or you're fine.
Correct.
And there's nothing in the middle.
Nothing in between.
And it's just so wrong. My family does as you know, we do Operation Stone Soup every Thanksgiving. And you see the people that need help during Thanksgiving. And they're able to drive, and sometimes they have decent cars, but they may be living in those cars as well. And I don't think people really appreciate that they may be having that car, and that's the only asset they have, and it's not a brand new car. It's just a car that gets them to and from it. And if they didn't have it, they wouldn't have a job to go to work.
Exactly.
And so I think it's important for everyone to understand that people can be in need and not be in a homeless, desperate kind of situation. It's organizations like Dunedin Cares that keeps them from becoming homeless.
Right. It's, we try to, I think, explain it, or the way I kind of share with people is that, we're trying to offer people, a hand up. It's not a handout.
Right.
And if we can help bridge the gap for that, single mom that's just trying to, we have one single mom in particular who comes to us. She's a manager at a Burger King, and she gets up at 5:30 every morning. She's got 3 kids.
Right.
And her kids are in before care and after care. And she's gone, 10 hours, 11 hours a day. And by the time she comes to us on Monday evenings to get food, she's exhausted.
Right.
But without us, she wouldn't be able to feed her kids. And
Right.
she's very upfront about that. But it's not for lack of working hard.
She's working, she's working
Right.
like a dog.
Harder than any of us,
Yeah.
probably. Now, her goal is to be able to get to finish at SPC at some point. But, she was in an abusive situation and had to get out of it. And now she's on her own with the 3 children, which is better, but in some ways it's making it more difficult for them to
Right.
survive. And I can't tell you how many thousands of stories. I mean, HEP is one of the biggest places where you can hear those stories. So,
Right.
everyone could end up in a situation where, they think they're not going to be there until they're there.
Right.
So you just never know.
And if Dunedin Cares wasn't there for that single mother, she may have to take a second job just to get food on the table, which just is not good for the kids either.
No, they'd be home alone.
They'd be home alone during that
Yeah.
period of time and without a mother and without
Right.
that. And so it's
Which, by the way, in the state of Florida is not against the law. However, her kids are ages, 10 and younger.
Yeah.
And there's 3 of them. Well, a 10-year-old really shouldn't be watching, 2 younger siblings.
Right.
So that should be, a
Yeah.
rule.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and,
not really safe, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if there's an opportunity that you can get the mom there to be the role model for,
Yeah.
I mean, she's already a role model for the kids when she's working as hard as she's working, and then also showing that it's okay to ask for help when you need help.
And she has the most polite, respectful children
Really?
ever. We do a program at the pantry where we have kids' meal bags. So every person who comes in, if it's a grandchild or whatever, they have children in their home, it's in our system. And when they go to check out, they get bags for each child who's in the house. And what's in the bag is enough to feed them breakfast and then either lunch or dinner, depending on what the child wants to use it for. And every child who gets those, when the child is in and picks it up, they get so excited because they know that they're going to get to take that bag home.
And it's for them.
Yes, and it's for them. And this year we were fortunate enough to have a couple of merchants, Lane's Lemonade and Madison Avenue Pizza, sponsor those bags for us for the entire year.
Wow.
So now those kids have those bags, and they really look cute because they've got logos on them and stuff. So they're really excited to have those bags, and it makes a difference because they get to have that and it's theirs. So when you can make a difference like that for children, it really makes you feel good.
You're laying the seed so as they grow, they're going to have a heart to help.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, and they can see the benefit of giving back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my mom taught us a long time ago. God gave us two hands, one to extend when someone needs help, but one to reach out when you need help yourself, and so that's why you have two hands. And so, and I think the families that Dunedin Cares are helping are learning that week by week by week, that it's okay to ask for help, and then it's okay to give help. I want to be part of Dunedin Cares when I'm on my feet and able to do it. I believe the mentality of probably most people that get involved in Dunedin Cares.
Yes.
Let's talk about fundraising and how Dunedin Cares is funded, if we could. You can't do this. You guys can't do this by love. You got to do it with money and other other assistance. Now, we talked about local businesses and such, but how else is Dunedin Cares funded?
So by individuals, churches, civic organizations help, and then of course grants. So I do the grant writing. So we have, we definitely do have some grants. We're fortunate enough. And our meat and produce and the majority of food is kind of offset a little bit for us in that we have a partnership with Feeding Tampa Bay and St. Pete Free Clinic. So St. Pete Free Clinic we pick up on Mondays, and then Feeding Tampa Bay we pick up from a couple of local Walmarts. We have a relationship with Trader Joe's. We pick up from Publix at Granada Plaza, which is near Dunedin Cares. And so we have those relationships, and that pretty much covers like meat, produce, desserts, and bread for us, which is very helpful.
And that's through Feeding Tampa Bay?
Yes, so USDA funds Feeding America, which funds Feeding Tampa Bay. Feeding Tampa Bay pretty much funds most all of our local agencies. Maddie Williams included. And now Maddie Williams also has a direct partnership with USDA as well. But that really helps us for meat and produce and things like that.
But something that our listeners may not have picked up on is you go out to the Publixes and to the Walmarts. So that's part of the that's
Ashley
part of
organizes
the
all that.
volunteers, that have to go out. Also, it's just another step that the volunteers are doing to help out. And you need that. I mean, you need Feeding Tampa Bay to carry you through, but also you need volunteers or donors of time and of funds to accomplish what you all are doing.
Oh yeah, we still spend about $13,000 to $15,000 a month on food. So we have agreements with Borden's and Clearwater Egg. We buy our butter from BJ's because it's the cheapest, which Ashley goes and buys it. Now Borden's and Clearwater Egg, we do have it delivered, but they don't charge us delivery fees. So I mean, we have agreements with people that help us out, but we do that with the eggs and the milk and the dairy because we want it to be fresh. And we want to make sure that the dates are good and that we're actually getting eggs that are good and milk that's good. We don't want a chance getting anyone sick or anything like that. So,
and so you use funds that are donated funds for that.
So, or grant money.
So people may think that, gosh, well, they get all their money from Feeding Tampa Bay or all their food from Feeding Tampa Bay. That's just not the case.
No, that's just meat and produce and, like I said, and then the desserts and the bread. Everything else we pretty much have to take care of or it gets donated to us. Right.
I mean, what I've always seen is spaghetti and chili are really helpful for families. Besides the cold cereal. Because you can have that for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or dessert too. But those are things that you may not get from Feeding Tampa Bay. So you have to rely on donations for those staples that can really carry a family through as well. So
and things like flour, sugar, oil,
I didn't even think about that stuff.
Ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard. They want to be able to give their kids, chicken nuggets with ketchup too, right? Just like we do. So, we do try to have the building blocks there for them to be able to make meals. Now, they can also only come to Dunedin Cares every 4 weeks, so we do provide them with a QR code of places that they can go in the interim. But based on supply and demand right now, that's what we're able to do.
Okay, so a family can only come
Yeah.
Once
Every 4 weeks.
every 4 weeks.
It's not really once a month. It's every 4 weeks because
Right.
sometimes it's
Which
twice
that
a
helps
month.
a little bit, yeah.
But it's every 4 weeks.
Wow. So they have to
Yeah.
plan. I mean,
They do.
It's
Yeah.
a whole family planning for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, and it's wonderful. It's a lot of hard work on your part, and it's a lot of hard work on your volunteers' part. And I can't imagine the good feeling you have seeing these families walking out with a little burden off of their shoulders, knowing that they can feed their families for a period of time.
It's everything. It really is.
Yeah, I can imagine. How can our listeners who are just tuning in, if you're just tuning in, we got about 4 more minutes. You're tuning in late, but we are here. This is Kristina Garcia. She is the executive director of Dunedin Cares, a wonderful organization that helps people not just in Dunedin, but throughout Dunedin and its surrounding areas with food and other special needs that they have throughout the year. It's not just during Christmas. It's not just during Thanksgiving, but it's throughout the year. The needs there throughout the year. And so how let's first start with businesses. We kind of talked about it, but for the new listeners, how can businesses get involved with Dunedin Cares?
So you can be a food drop-off location. You can also come in and volunteer. We ask for groups of 6 to 8, no more than, because you're going to shadow the current volunteers that are there. And then you can also, of course, make donations online, or you can mail checks, whatever. So we're located at 1630 Pinehurst Road in Dunedin, Florida, 34698. We are across the street from Dunedin High School, and we are behind Faith Lutheran Church.
Yeah, that little tiny little sign. So it's good to know
It
that
is. It's not very
that
big.
you know it's right across the street from the
That's
high
right.
school. High school, right?
Yes, right across from the high school.
I knew it from the
Yep.
church.
Yeah, we're literally behind the church. And, you can go to DunedinCares.org and get information. You can also email me directly, office@DunedinCares.org, and I'll be more than happy to give you any information that you need. But going on our website will give you a lot of information. But businesses are an integral part of what we do in the community for sure. And items that we need right now would definitely be personal care items and feminine hygiene products for sure.
Great. And as we talked about earlier, a business getting involved is not only because it's a donation, but it's also an opportunity to connect with other businesses that, business to business marketing and building your business by helping somebody else, which is a wonderful thing to do.
Absolutely.
How about individuals? How can individuals get involved? They might say, hey, we just talked about the little girl who brought in her $10. How can individuals get involved?
We can drop off donations Monday through Saturday from 9 to noon if you want to drop off food. You're always welcome to do that, or personal care items. Even the little bottles that come like from a hotel stay, we can use those as well because we'll make up bags. Those are very popular, especially at our pop-up pantry. And then, of course, donations. You can also get involved by volunteering with us. So Ashley handles our volunteers throughout the week, and you would work with her on that. And that's volunteers@DunedinCares.org.
Okay, very good. So to reach Ashley, you got to go to volunteers@DunedinCares.org.
Yes.
Kristina, thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
It was a wonderful hour. But again, if you missed any part of it, jump on FLALAW on any podcast, and you can hear more about it and ways that you can help. I strongly encourage everyone listening to get involved with Dunedin Cares. It is such a wonderful organization. We will be back next week, but in the meantime, as I always say, drive safely and watch out for those who don't. Take care.